There's a reason why so many people fall for a Scorpio and never recover. Not because Scorpios are just attractive, though their eyes can see through your soul. Not because they play hard to get, but because they are hard to reach. You don't get a Scorpio. You earn them, burn for them, and sometimes you even bleed for them. If you're watching this, you're probably already under their spell. Maybe you've met a Scorpio who made your heart race without even touching you. Maybe you're dating one and you're starting to feel like you're being watched, studied, and tested. Like you're part of an emotional initiation you never signed up for. Or maybe you lost one and you still wake up wondering what exactly went wrong. Let me tell you something. Winning a Scorpio is not about flowers, sweet words, or cheesy Zodiac tricks. It's about unlocking the deepest vault of a soul that doesn't open for just anyone. They're not looking for someone perfect. They're looking for someone true. Someone who can stand the fire of their depth without flinching. Someone who isn't afraid of the darkness because they've made peace with their own. And here's the truth. If you can win a Scorpio, you won't just gain a partner. You'll gain a spiritual warrior who protects your soul like it's their own. But to do that, you must understand them. Not just their surface signs. Not just their sun or moon. You must understand the sacred architecture of their heart and the secret codes that unlock it. Today, I'm going to walk you through 12 ways to win a Scorpio. But not in the way other videos do it. This isn't some text them this to get a reply guide. This is deeper. This is Scorpio deep. And if you're ready to enter that world, stay with me till the end. 'Cause I promise you, if you do these 12 things, you won't just win a Scorpio. You'll be the one they never let go. Reason number 1. Respect their silence or lose their soul. Scorpios do not fear silence. In fact, silence is their sacred space. It's where they heal, it's where they observe, and more importantly, it's where they test you. Most people panic in the silence. They scramble to fill the space with small talk, shallow flattery, or questions that only scratch the surface. But when you do this with a Scorpio, they'll quietly start retreating. Not physically, no, Scorpios rarely make dramatic exits. They disappear emotionally first. Their walls come up. Their trust starts to erode. See, Scorpio's silence is not emptiness. It's a signal, a gate. When a Scorpio goes silent around you, they're watching. They want to know, can you hold space for what you don't understand? Can you sit with intensity without trying to fix it, label it, or escape it? Let me tell you a true story. There was a woman named Eliza. She was dating a Scorpio man. Dark eyes, quiet confidence, the kind of presence that made her nervous and addicted at the same time. In the beginning, everything was passionate. They stayed up until 4 a.m. talking about life, pain, childhood scars. She thought she had him figured out. But then came the silence. Out of nowhere, he stopped texting back instantly. On their dates, he would look at her but not say much.
No explanations.
Just stillness. Eliza panicked. She began bombarding him with questions, over-explaining herself, even accusing him of pulling away. But here's what she didn't understand. He wasn't leaving. He was deepening. He was in his emotional cave, working through something inside himself, testing if she could hold space without invading. And when she couldn't, he shut the door for good. Scorpios aren't trying to be cold when they go quiet. They're protecting their energy. They're measuring the depth of your emotional intelligence, the kind that doesn't need words to feel truth. If you want to win a Scorpio, you must learn the art of sacred silence. Instead of asking, "What's wrong?" a better question is, "Do you want me to sit with you or give you space?" Instead of filling the air with nervous words, let your presence speak for itself. Calm, grounded, unafraid. Scorpio will notice. They always do. And when they feel safe in your stillness, that's when they open. Not just with words, but with their soul. And trust me, that is rarer than love itself. Lesson. To win a Scorpio, don't fear the silence. Embrace it. Because sometimes, the quiet moments say more than 1,000 confessions. And the one who respects a Scorpio's silence becomes the one they trust with their secrets. Reason number 2, be real, not perfect. If you're trying to impress a Scorpio by being flawless, you're already losing. Scorpios are not seduced by perfection. In fact, the more polished and curated you seem, the more suspicious they become. They don't want the version of you you show to the world. They want the version of you that even you are afraid to show. Here's the truth no one tells you. Scorpios fall in love with flaws when those flaws are carried with truth. They don't want someone who's never been broken. They want someone who's been shattered and rebuilt themselves with raw honesty. There was a man named Carter. On paper, he had everything: successful, well-dressed, witty, smooth with his words. He started dating a Scorpio woman, magnetic, private, and emotionally layered. In the beginning, everything was exciting. He told the best stories. He never stumbled. But the Scorpio woman felt something was off. Everything he said was too clean, too right. It lacked vulnerability. So one night she asked him, "What scares you the most about being seen?" He smiled, gave a clever answer, then changed the subject. That was the moment she emotionally disconnected. He didn't fail because he wasn't good enough. He failed because he was too good to be true. And with Scorpio, that's a red flag. Scorpios crave authenticity the way lungs crave air. They want to know what makes you bleed, what haunts your sleep, and what you've learned from your darkest hours. If you think that's too much, you're not ready for them. But here's the secret. When you're brave enough to be real, awkward, messy, uncertain, emotional, that's when they begin to lean in. That's when their eyes soften and their guard drops. Why? Because Scorpio has carried their own darkness, and they're not looking for light. They're looking for someone who can walk through the dark with them and not run away screaming. So show them your scars. Not with drama, but with honesty. Tell them what you're afraid to admit. Not to shock them, but to free yourself. They'll see it. They'll feel it. And they'll respect you more than if you gave them a dozen perfect answers. Lesson: Scorpios don't need perfection. They crave depth. Be real with them or be forgotten. Because in their world, the most beautiful truth is the one you're terrified to speak. Reason number 3. Handle the intensity or step aside. Being close to a Scorpio is like standing too close to a fire. It will warm you, awaken you, and sometimes scorch you. This sign was not made for shallow love, polite exchanges, or casual connection. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, the planet of death, rebirth, and transformation. That's why when you're involved with them, nothing stays surface level for long. Conversations go deep. Emotions hit hard. Energy vibrates on a frequency most people aren't used to. And let's be honest, most people can't handle it. They say they want a deep connection. But when the Scorpio starts asking the uncomfortable questions, when did you stop trusting love? What pain are you still hiding? What version of yourself are you afraid I'll meet? They freeze. They backpedal. They call Scorpio too much. But Scorpio isn't too much. They're just not afraid of the parts of you that you've spent your whole life hiding. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman named Maya who fell for a Scorpio man. Their chemistry was off the charts. But what really pulled her in was his ability to see her. Not just her smile, but her loneliness, her self-doubt, the way she over-explained herself when she felt unworthy. One night, during a quiet moment, he looked at her and simply said, "You don't think you're lovable unless you're fixing something, do you?" She was stunned. No one had ever said that out loud before, not even her therapist. She laughed it off, tried to change the subject. But in that moment she realized she was terrified of being fully seen. And Scorpio? He didn't back away from it. He leaned in. But she didn't. Within a month she ghosted him. She told her friends he was intense. But the truth is, he just held a mirror up to her soul. And she wasn't ready. Scorpios don't come into your life to keep things comfortable. They come to awaken something dormant inside you. They want your truth, your chaos, your emotional undercurrents. Not because they want to manipulate them, but because they want to meet you there. So if you flinch at emotional honesty, if you panic when someone really sees you, if you crave comfort more than transformation, you're not ready for a Scorpio. And that's okay. But know this, they won't water themselves down to make you feel safe. Lesson: Scorpio love is not soft. It's sacred fire. If you can't handle the intensity, don't step into the flame. But if you can, you'll never experience a connection more powerful, more truthful, or more transformative. Reason number 4. Protect their secrets like sacred fire. When a Scorpio tells you something personal, stop whatever you're doing and listen. Not just with your ears, but with your soul. Because what they just gave you was not information. It was a key. You see, Scorpio is the Zodiac's ultimate vault. They hold the secrets of their past, the wounds that never fully healed, the truths they don't even tell themselves, like sacred artifacts buried deep. And if they choose to share even a piece of that with you, it's not casual. It's a test, a trust fall, a whisper of, "I'm letting you in, don't destroy me." Here's what most people don't realize. The fastest way to lose a Scorpio's heart is to mishandle their truth. Mock it, minimize it, or worse, repeat it to someone else and it's over.
No confrontación.
No second chance. Just silence. Disconnection. Exit. Let me tell you a real story. There was a guy named Josh who was dating a Scorpio woman. Elegant, enigmatic, and guarded like a fortress. For months she kept things light. But one night, out of nowhere, she opened up about her father's betrayal during her childhood. Something she'd never told a soul. Josh was flattered by her trust, but immature in how he handled it. He told a friend casually, "She has major daddy issues, bro. You can tell." He didn't mean to be cruel, but the words traveled, and Scorpio heard. The very next day, she blocked him.
No explanación.
No drama. Just gone. Why? Because for Scorpio, betrayal doesn't always come with blood. Sometimes it comes from carelessness. And that's worse. What Josh didn't understand was this. Scorpio's secrets are not gossip. They are sacred. When they give you their pain, they are not looking for pity. They are looking for someone who will honor that pain, guard it like fire, and never use it as leverage. So if you're blessed enough to hear a Scorpio say something raw, vulnerable, or unfinished, treat it like something holy. Hold it, protect it, die with it if you have to, because if you prove yourself as a guardian of their darkness, you will earn something most people never do, their undying loyalty. Lesson: a Scorpio's secrets are not for your entertainment, they're for your transformation. Protect them as if your soul depends on it, because to them it does. Reason number 5. Let them lead the emotional dance. In love, Scorpio is not passive. They are the conductor of emotional frequency, the architect of energetic intimacy. If you try to rush them, control them, or outmaneuver them emotionally, you will lose, not because they'll punish you, but because they'll vanish. Here's the thing. Scorpio doesn't fall in love the way others do. They don't tumble. They descend consciously, slowly, deeply, like diving into an ocean with no bottom. So if you're used to quick sparks, easy flirtation, or playing the who texts first game, you'll drown before the connection even begins. Scorpio leads love like a ritual, not a race. They move slowly not because they're unsure, but because they're scanning every dimension of you. Are you emotionally intelligent or just reactive? Do you seek power or connection? Will you betray them once you're inside their world? This isn't paranoia. This is spiritual intelligence. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman named Imani. She was dating a Scorpio man who was intense but reserved. She felt the chemistry but hated the emotional pacing. Why won't he open up faster? She kept asking. Tired of waiting, she pushed. Sent long emotional texts. Called when he needed space. She tried to define the relationship before it was ready to be defined. The more she pursued, the colder he became. Until one day she was blocked. She didn't realize she was dancing with someone whose rhythm was spiritual, not impulsive. Scorpio opens up when the energy feels safe, not when it looks right. They need time to scan your emotional temperature, not out of fear but out of respect for the depth they bring. So here's what you must understand. Scorpio leads the emotional rhythm for a reason. They are not trying to control you. They're trying to see if you can hold space for something real. When they slow down, slow with them. When they go inward, don't chase, center yourself. When they test your patience, don't flinch. Show them your steadiness. Because once Scorpio feels your energy matching theirs, not rushing, not pushing, just meeting, that's when the dance becomes sacred. And when a Scorpio chooses to dance with you, they do it with their whole soul. Lesson: love with a Scorpio isn't a sprint. It's a spiritual waltz. Let them set the pace. Because when you surrender to their rhythm, you'll find yourself moving in a love deeper than anything you've ever known. Reason number 6. Don't lie, not even a little. Scorpios can forgive many things: emotional messiness, fear of commitment, even moments of weakness. But there is one thing they cannot and will not forgive: a lie. Not because they're judgmental, but because they can feel the lie before you even speak it. You see, Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, the underworld planet. It gives them an uncanny radar for energy shifts, emotional inconsistencies, and vibrations that don't match your words. You might think you're being smooth, but Scorpio already clocked the change in your tone, the pause before you answered, the flicker in your eyes when you said, "I'm fine." Here's what most people don't realize. Scorpios aren't just hurt by lies, they feel betrayed by the choice to hide. And betrayal to a Scorpio isn't about facts. It's about energetic violation. It's the breaking of an unspoken contract that says, if I'm giving you the real me, you better do the same. Let me tell you a real-world story. Tyler was dating a Scorpio woman. Fierce, loyal, guarded. Everything was going well, until she started asking subtle questions. Things about his past relationships, his timeline, and a woman he'd mentioned once. Tyler thought he was being smart. He bent the truth, skipped a few details, said, "We were just friends." But Scorpio doesn't stop at words. She watched him, felt the emotional distance, noticed how he avoided eye contact during certain questions. One night she said nothing, just looked him in the eyes and whispered, "Tell me the truth, or I'll walk," and never look back. He confessed. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just vanished. Because when you lie to a Scorpio, you don't just lose their trust. You lose their presence, their investment, their soul. Scorpios can handle ugly truths, cheating, mistakes, even past darkness, as long as it's real. But lie to them, and they'll never see you the same again. They'll question everything you ever said. And worse, everything they ever felt for you. And that's a scar that doesn't heal. Lesson: you don't need to be perfect for a Scorpio, but you must be honest. Because once they catch you lying even once, you'll never again touch the part of them that trusted you with their truth. Reason number 7. Accept their darkness. Love it, even. Everyone wants to love a Scorpio's passion, their loyalty, their magnetism, their power. But what most people forget is this: Scorpio's power doesn't come from light. It comes from their ability to survive the dark. And if you want to win them, you must not only tolerate their shadows, you must respect them. Scorpio doesn't hide that they've been through pain. They carry it in the way they walk, the way they watch people, the way they pause before trusting. Their soul has been stitched together in silence, after heartbreaks that would have broken lesser signs. And deep down, they're asking you one question, not with words but with their energy. Will you still love me when I'm not radiant? Let me tell you a story. There was a Scorpio woman named Jade, beautiful in a way that was almost unapproachable, not because of arrogance but because of depth. She started seeing a man named Caleb, sweet, warm, a fixer, the kind who wanted to make everything better. First, things were beautiful, but then came the shadows. Jade shared her fears, her past trauma, the suicidal thoughts she once had, her tendency to emotionally shut down when overwhelmed. She wasn't asking to be rescued. She was asking to be held emotionally, in the rawness of who she truly was. But Caleb panicked. He said, "I don't know how to deal with all this negativity." He started backing away, suggesting therapy instead of presence, offering advice instead of empathy. Eventually, he ghosted. What Caleb didn't realize is this: Scorpios don't need you to fix them. They need you to not flinch when they show you their truth. Because here's the sacred secret: Scorpio's darkness is not a defect. It's where their wisdom lives. It's how they know how to love so deeply. It's why they can hold your pain without judgment, because they've already made peace with their own. So if you recoil when they get moody, if you shame them for needing space, if you label their intensity as too much, you're not just rejecting a behavior, you're rejecting the part of them they fought the hardest to survive. But if you stay, if you breathe through their storm without running, if you love not just their light, but their shadow, then Scorpio will give you something they give to almost no one: total surrender. Lesson: you cannot love a Scorpio halfway. If you want their loyalty, you must sit with their darkness and say, "I see you, and I'm not going anywhere." Only then will they rise for you. Reason number 8. Don't compete with their power. Match it with presence. When you're with a Scorpio, you'll feel it before you see it. That energy, that quiet dominance. That feeling that they've already read the room, the people, and most likely you. It's not arrogance. It's presence. A Scorpio doesn't need to talk loudly to take up space. They already do with their aura, their gaze, their intensity. And here's where most people go wrong. They try to match that energy with control, with ego, with force. They posture. They play power games. They compete. And that's exactly when Scorpio loses interest. Because Scorpio isn't looking for a battle. They're looking for someone whose presence is powerful and it's calm. Someone who can share space, not steal it. Someone who can walk beside them, not try to outrun or dominate them. Let me give you a story. Elias was a Scorpio man, successful, self-made, known for his unshakable focus. He started dating a woman named Reagan, beautiful, sharp, fiery. She was used to being the center of attention, and that energy drew him in. But every time he shared an idea, she one-upped it. If he talked about his business, she talked louder about hers. If he sat in silence, she filled the space with her achievements. Eventually, he told her, gently but clearly, I don't need someone to compete with me. I need someone who can sit in the silence with me and still feel powerful. That's what most people don't understand. Scorpio's power doesn't come from dominance. It comes from depth. They don't need to be the loudest in the room. They are the current under the surface, the undertow you don't see until you're already in it. So when you show up with balanced energy, confidence without ego, presence without pretension, calm without emptiness, they feel it. And they respect it. Because to a Scorpio, power isn't about being the strongest. It's about being sovereign, unshaken, emotionally grounded. And when they sense that you are that, they'll treat you as an equal. And for a Scorpio, that means everything. Lesson: don't try to outshine a Scorpio. You won't. Instead, let your energy speak for itself. Because when your power is quiet, authentic, and unafraid, that's when they'll start to truly see you. Reason number 9. Be loyal in actions, not just words. With a Scorpio, loyalty is not a suggestion. It's a sacred contract. Not the kind you write down, but the kind that's felt in the soul. You can tell a Scorpio, I'm loyal 100 times. It means nothing. Because to them, loyalty isn't a promise, it's a pattern. A vibration they read in your consistency, your energy when no one's watching, and how you behave when they're not around. See, loyalty to a Scorpio isn't just about fidelity. It's about how you show up when the world gets loud, messy, uncertain. It's about whether you defend them when they're not in the room, whether you keep their name safe in conversations they'll never hear, whether you choose them, not out of obligation but out of alignment. Let me tell you a true story. There was a Scorpio woman named Lila. Mysterious, elegant, emotionally private. She had a partner named Jordan, a man who said all the right things. He told her, I'd never hurt you. I'd always have your back. You can trust me. But over time, Scorpio watched the little cracks. He flirted with other people under the radar. Nothing overt, but energy doesn't lie. He made her the punchline in jokes to friends, just subtle enough to deny if questioned. He told her secrets to others and said, it wasn't a big deal. To him, he had technically done nothing wrong. To Lila, he had already betrayed her. Because Scorpio loyalty isn't measured by rules. It's measured by energetic integrity. If you're loyal only when it's easy, you're not loyal. If you choose them only when others approve, you're not real. And if you show them devotion in private, but leave them unprotected in public, you've failed the test. But if you show up in moments that matter, if you defend their silence without needing applause, if you never let their soul feel alone in the fire, then Scorpio will open to you in a way that is rare, deep, and unbreakable. Because loyalty to them is the most spiritual form of love. Lesson: to win a Scorpio, don't just say you're loyal, be it. In your energy, in your timing, in your silence, in your stand. Because once a Scorpio knows you're truly loyal, they will move heaven and hell to protect you in return. Reason number 10. Give them space without making it about you. If you're the kind of person who panics when someone pulls away, if silence makes you spiral, if you think distance equals disinterest, then loving a Scorpio is going to challenge you in ways you never expected. Because Scorpios need space. Not because they've lost interest, but because solitude is how they process the world. This is a sign ruled by intensity, Emotional, spiritual, psychological. They take in more than they show. They feel deeper than they admit. And when the weight of the world starts pressing on them, their instinct isn't to vent or seek validation. It's to go within. Here's where most people mess it up. They take the distance personally. They send a dozen "Are you okay?" texts. They get insecure, overreact, and think Scorpio is losing feelings. But what Scorpio is really doing is recharging their soul. They're sorting through energy, filtering noise, regaining clarity. They are not abandoning you. They are maintaining themselves so they don't bleed on you. Let me give you a real-life story. A man named Andre was dating a Scorpio woman. Things were magnetic until suddenly she stopped replying for 2 days.
No explanaschen.
Just space. He panicked, left angry voicemails, accused her of ghosting, called her emotionally unavailable. What he didn't know was that her grandmother had just passed away, and she was grieving in solitude, not ready to speak to anyone. When she returned and saw his emotional outburst, she said only one thing: "I needed space. You made it about you." And that was the last time he heard from her. Because here's the truth. Scorpio tests your emotional security through silence. Not as a game, but as a survival mechanism. If you can't handle their absence without falling apart, they will never trust you with their presence. So when they retreat, don't chase. Don't guilt trip. Don't accuse. Just stay centered. Hold space. Be still. And when they return, and they will, if the bond is real, they will look at you with more trust than before. Why? Because you didn't invade their sanctuary. You respected their rhythm. And to a Scorpio, that means everything. Lesson. Scorpios don't disappear, they descend. If you want to win their heart, don't make their space about your fear. Make it about your faith. Because the one who can sit calmly in their absence is the one they will never let go of again. Reason number 11. Let them see the monster, not just the mask. Everyone has a shadow, but most people spend their whole lives hiding it. Behind politeness, behind charm, behind the "I'm fine" smile. Scorpios aren't fooled. They see through masks like X-rays. They feel the tension behind your laughter. They sense the part of you that's been wounded, ashamed, or raging underneath the surface. And here's the paradox. Scorpio won't trust you until they meet your monster. You read that right. Not the monster who harms, but the monster who hurts. The one that was created by betrayal, by abandonment, by being too much for too many. The one you've tried to bury to be lovable. But Scorpio doesn't want the fake light. They want the real fire. Let me tell you a story. Kira, a Scorpio woman, was in love with a man named Drew. On the surface, he was perfect, patient, spiritual, emotionally intelligent. But every time she tried to open up about her darkness, he responded with positivity. "Let's stay high vibe," he'd say. "Let's not dwell on the past." Kira grew quiet, not because she didn't feel, but because she no longer felt seen. One night, she finally asked him, "Have you ever hated someone so much you scared yourself?" Drew hesitated, then said, "I don't believe in hate." And in that moment, she felt utterly alone. Because to Scorpio, true intimacy doesn't come from light alone. It comes from the ability to sit in shadow and stay human. If you can't admit that you've felt rage, that you've wanted revenge, that you've doubted your worth, failed, broken, or drowned in your own mind, then you're not safe for their soul. They don't need you to act perfect. They need to see your monster, not because they want chaos, but because they want truth. And when they see that monster and you don't flinch, when you let them witness you're ugly, and you don't apologize for it, that's when they start to love you. Not with romance, with reverence. Lesson. Don't hide your darkness from a Scorpio. Let them see it. Name it. Share it. Own it. Because when you reveal the parts of yourself you've been taught to hide, they'll finally believe you're someone worth keeping. Reason number 12. Burn with them, or don't bother loving them at all. Loving a Scorpio is not soft. It is not safe. It is not polite. It is fire. It is death and rebirth. It is standing at the edge of yourself and saying, "I will go further," if it means meeting you there. You see, Scorpio doesn't want casual. They don't want convenient. They want a love that scorches off the lies, rips open the heart, and rebuilds the soul from scratch. They want someone who will burn with them, not someone who watches their intensity like a storm from behind glass. Not someone who loves them in pieces when it's pretty, when it's easy, when it's Instagram worthy. They want a co-initiator. Someone who says, if your pain comes up at 2 a.m., I'll be there to witness it. If your demons rise, I won't run. I'll light the incense. If we break together, and we rise again, higher, rawer, realer. Let me tell you a final story. There was a Scorpio man named Matteo. For years he stayed single, not because he couldn't find someone, but because he couldn't find someone who could hold his fire. Then came Rhea. She didn't try to impress him. She didn't flinch when he showed his darkness. She just said, I've walked through my own hell. Yours doesn't scare me. That was it. From that moment on, Matteo stopped testing her, because she didn't just accept his fire, she brought her own. And that's what it means to love a Scorpio. Not to tame them, not to fix them, not to change them, but to burn alongside them. To let their intensity awaken something buried in you. To look into their eyes and say, whatever we become, I want it real, raw, and whole. Final lesson. Scorpios are not meant for half love. They are portals of transformation, and to love them is to be transformed. So if you're not ready to burn, don't strike the match. But if you are, you will experience a love so consuming, so soul-bonded, so cosmic. You'll never want anything less again. If you've made it this far, chances are you're not afraid of the fire. So tell me in the comments, have you loved a Scorpio? Or better yet, has one loved you? And if this spoke to something deep in you, don't forget to subscribe to the Path to Buddhist Wisdom. Because here we don't chase surface signs. We dive deep into the zodiac, the soul, and the truths that change us forever.